Welcome to the deep dive. We sift through all the noise in the crypto world to bring you the insights that actually matter. Today, we're diving into a digital asset launch. And while this one feels a bit different than just another token hitting the market, we're talking about World Liberty Financial's WLFI token. It officially started trading today, and there are several really interesting layers to it. So the big question for us today is, what makes WLFI actually stand out? Beyond the headlines, what are the surprising bits, the crucial insights hidden just below the surface of this launch? And what does it all mean for digital finance overall? We're going to unpack that for you. Looking at everything from its unique unlock mechanics to its stablecoin that's growing super fast, and even some, interesting political angles.
That's right. Our job here, like always, is to pull out those really key pieces of information from the sources we've got. We'll walk you through the main elements, trying to help you understand not just what's happening, but why it's significant. The goal is to give you a solid, informed perspective without getting totally bogged down in information overload, so you can quickly get the strategic implications of this new player.
Okay. All right. Let's jump right in then. The big news today, I'm thinking it's a lot of buzz. World Liberty Financial's WLFI token, it officially began trading today, September 1st, 2025. And look, this wasn't some quiet little launch. It got immediate and, frankly, remarkably broad support from some really big names in crypto. Binance is sort of leading the pack here. They opened spot trading WLFI against USDT and USDC at 1300 UTC. Deposits were actually live even earlier today, setting the stage for trading. Withdrawals, they're set for tomorrow, September 2nd. But this isn't just about Binance. What's really quite striking and maybe a bit unusual for a brand new token is that it's not just one or two exchanges. No, tons of other big platforms are listing WLFI at the same time. We're talking Bybit, OKX, KuCoin, Gate.io, MEXC, BitDit, BingX, HTX.
Wow.
That's a serious lineup, all going live together.
Yeah, that's a critical point from the sources, the sheer number of these listings right from day one. For a totally new token to get that kind of widespread support across so many major exchanges right away, that's a pretty significant strategic play.
It says a lot, I think, not just about how ambitious the project is, but also maybe about the perceived confidence from institutions and market interest.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. This wide access, it creates deep liquidity instantly.
Right.
Lots of smaller projects, they struggle to even get on one exchange. WLFI, it's hitting the ground running. Instant price discovery, trading volume. And we saw hints of this coming, didn't we? There were pre-market futures for WLFI already trading.
Oh, yeah. Where was that? On Binance and Hyperliquid, HYPE, I think it is, since late August. And the price was hovering around, $0.27 just before the official launch. So that basically gave us a pretty strong indication of initial demand. It suggested a solid foundation for trading right out of the gate, not just a wild guess.
Okay, so let's connect this back for someone listening, someone watching the market. What are the actual implications of this immediate broad access? How does that change things for you?
Well, fundamentally, it changes the barrier to entry and maybe the risk profile for people thinking about participating. For one thing, it signals a high level of, let's say, perceived legitimacy, right? These exchanges, they do some homework. It means you don't have to go searching for where to trade it. That makes access way simpler.
Yeah.
But maybe more importantly, from a market mechanics view, this immediate liquidity across lots of places. It can lead to more stable price discovery. It might reduce that crazy volatility you often see with single exchange listings. Yeah, it minimizes the risk of, price manipulation on thin order books. And it just plugs WLFI straight into the bigger trading ecosystem, makes it more accessible, potentially more reliable as an asset for more people.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, now here's where we get into something that's often pretty complex with token launches. These exchange listings, they're not happening in a vacuum. They tie in directly with WLFI's first token unlock event. And this is where we start to see the kind of the longer term vision of the project take shape.
Yeah.
So the specifics are early backers, the ones who got in during the pre-sale rounds. I think the prices were 4015 and 015.
Yep, sounds right.
Okay, so those people can now claim 20% of the tokens they were allocated. This first 20% chunk, it represents about 5% of the total supply, which is 100 billion WLFI. So it's a carefully managed initial release.
Exactly. And this phased release, it's a really key part of WLFI's design. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, the way the other 80% of tokens are handled, that's what really jumps out. They're not just dumped on the market all at once.
Which is a relief, often.
Totally. Instead, that massive chunk, the 80%, it gets distributed over time. And here's the kicker. It's subject to community governance votes.
Yeah.
That points to a deeper strategy. Long-term decentralized control, aiming for stability that can adapt rather than just a fixed schedule set in stone. And this whole distribution process, it's managed by something called the lockbox system.
Lockbox, right.
Yeah, it's a pretty sophisticated smart contract. And importantly, it's been audited by CFRN.
Okay, that's a good sign.
It is, yeah. Adds a layer of security, transparency. And this lockbox, it didn't just launch today either. It went live back on August 25th, so that gave investors a whole week to get ready, activate their lockbox, and be prepared to access the unlocked tokens smoothly. Smart planning avoids a last-minute scramble.
So, thinking about this, what would you say is really at the heart of WLFI's design? Especially with this community governance angle. And how does this approach phased unlocks controlled by votes? How does that affect its long-term stability, maybe its development in a market that's often, well, super fast and volatile?
Yeah, what's truly core here is that community control, which honestly is pretty rare to see implemented this strongly right from day one at this scale. Token holders aren't just sitting back, they're actually empowered to vote on really critical stuff like project funding decisions, the schedule for future unlocks, even what happens with the treasury. And this isn't just talk. We saw it happen back in July. Over 99% of the voters approved making WLFI tradable. That vote was huge. It shifted WLFI from just being a governance token to being a fully liquid asset on Ethereum. So for you, the listener, what this model suggests is a very deliberate strategy. It seems aimed at fostering sustainable growth, not just the quick pump and dump cycles we sometimes see. By putting major future token releases up for a community vote, it builds in this mechanism for the project to adapt to market conditions, respond to what the community actually needs. It potentially offers resilience because decision-making is spread out. It's theoretically less vulnerable to the whims of just one group or person. It feels like a real commitment to long-term health, basically trusting the collective intelligence of its holders.
Interesting. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. There's another major development from World Liberty Financial launching alongside WLFI.
Yeah.
And that's their stablecoin, USD1. This isn't just some side project. It seems to be becoming a real force in the stablecoin world pretty quickly.
Yeah, the numbers are pretty impressive. USD1 is now live on Solana, and it's already had a, $2.2 billion market cap in less than 90 days.
Yeah.
That makes it one of the fastest growing stablecoins out there. That's lightning fast adoption.
It really is. And the strategic importance of expanding to Solana, well, you really can't overstate it. Solana is known for speed, low costs, and it has this booming DeFi ecosystem.
So by putting USD1 there, World Liberty Financial isn't just ticking another box for another chain. They're tapping into a super active, high-volume environment. And this move, it comes with some really key ecosystem integrations. These are crucial for a stablecoin to actually be useful, right? To gain utility.
Like what kind of integrations?
Well, we're seeing integrations with Bonk, BONK for token launches. So USD1 can be like a base asset for new projects. Then there's Camino Finance for lending and borrowing. That unlocks yield opportunities, makes capital more efficient for people holding USD1.
Okay.
And also Radium, RAY, for trading liquidity. That ensures you can swap it easily, deep pools. These are really the building blocks, They turn a stablecoin from just being like a dollar peg into an active, versatile piece of the whole DeFi machine.
And just to give our listeners some wider context here, with USD1 joining the party, Solana now hosts, $11.9 billion in circulating stablecoins. What does a huge number like that tell us about Solana's role in DeFi? And how does USD1 coming in strengthen that position, maybe even help move capital markets at internet speed, as they say?
It's a massive validation, isn't it, of Solana's infrastructure and just how important it's becoming in DeFi. That $11.9 billion, it's not just a number, it represents a huge amount of capital moving really fast and efficiently inside that ecosystem.
Right.
So USD1 entering doesn't just add to the total. It could actually shift the market dynamics a bit. It brings a new, fast-adopted stablecoin into that mix that could attract fresh money, new users to Solana, and just further cement its place as a major DeFi hub. And when the sources mention moving capital at internet speed, yeah, they're talking about settling big transactions almost instantly, super low cost.
So something traditional finance can't touch.
Exactly. So for you listening, this means incredibly efficient, accessible capital, whether you're trading, investing, or just moving money around. The expansion of a fast-growing stablecoin like USD1 onto a high-speed chain like Solana, it translates into quicker, cheaper, more seamless value transfer that could open up new arbitrage plays, make cross-border payments easier, just generally makes your digital finance life more efficient.
Okay, shifting gears just a little bit now, we do need to touch on a broader context here, something non-financial surrounding WLFI. This project has actually picked up attention outside the usual crypto circles, which adds a unique and complex layer to the whole story. The specific reason for this extra attention, as our source material points out, is its connection to the Trump family. These potential conflicts of interest, they've definitely drawn some criticism, some discussion. It positions WLFI in a place where, finance, tech, and mainstream politics all intersect.
Yeah, and this is all happening, it's worth noting, kind of in the shadow of the Genius Act passing.
Right, the new legislation.
Exactly. A major piece of legislation trying to shape the rule book for digital assets in the U.S., clarifying how assets are classified securities, commodities, something new, setting guidelines for oversight. It's already a complex and evolving regulatory picture. So without taking any sides here or endorsing any view, the sources are quite clear that these prominent political links, even with all that strong exchange support we talked about, they do introduce a distinct kind of uncertainty around WLFI's regulatory future. We're just relaying the info here, but it highlights this intersection as a factor to be aware of. The uncertainty isn't just about, ticking the technical compliance boxes. It stretches to how public opinion, political talk, maybe future laws might specifically focus on or affect projects with such high-profile connections.
So this raises a bigger question then. What's the main takeaway from this angle? The story of WLFI isn't just about tech or market charts. The sources suggest it's also about how finance, innovation, and politics are interacting. For you, listening and looking at this multifaceted project, how do you think these non-financial things like famous political ties, the shifting regulatory scene, how might they shape the long-term path and maybe the public image of an asset like WLFI?
It really demands a nuanced view, doesn't it? That political dimension means WLFI is under a different kind of spotlight compared to, say, a purely anonymous or purely tech-focused project. This extra visibility, it could be a double-edged sword.
How so?
Well, it might attract significant mainstream interest, maybe faster adoption, but it also invites much more intense scrutiny, potential politicization. It's just a strong reminder that digital assets don't exist in their own little bubble. They're increasingly caught up in real-world political tides and regulatory changes, especially as they gain more traction. It kind of forces us all to look beyond just the white papers and the market caps and consider these broader societal and political forces that are definitely in play.
And that brings us toward the end of another deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground here, haven't we? We journeyed through this multifaceted story of WLFI and World Liberty Financial, from those wide initial listings and the unique community-driven unlocks to its stablecoin's really rapid growth and strategic move onto Solana.
Right.
And finally, touching on those distinctive political dimensions that, they add a definite layer of complexity to its whole journey.
Indeed. I think this dive really underscores the idea that the crypto world, the digital asset space, it's rarely just about the tech or the markets anymore. It's this dynamic, complex mix of innovation, new ways of governing projects, and these powerful external forces, societal, political. This case really shows how all those different threads can come together in one single high-profile project. Makes it much more than just another token launch. It's almost like a case study in where digital finance is heading.
Absolutely. So as a final thought for you, the listener, to maybe chew on, in this digital landscape that's evolving so incredibly fast, new assets launching daily, stablecoins gaining serious ground, how might this convergence we've seen today, community control, fast market adoption, and these high-profile political links, how might that ultimately redefine things like the future stability of assets, the regulatory frameworks that emerge, maybe even just the public's whole perception of digital finance itself?
Yeah, lots to think about there.
It's definitely a complex picture, and we encourage you, as always, to keep doing your own deep dives, look beyond the headlines, and try to see the full story.